trying to take back Alaska?
Alrighty. You all right? All right, Shalom family, come on in, come on in. Hopefully all is well with everyone. Trying to get everything started. All right, praise Yah. Hopefully everybody is doing all right. Go ahead and give everybody a little bit of time to come in. Come on in, come on in. Praise Yahweh. So we hope that all is well with everyone. We appreciate, love you all. Thank you for being on this evening. As we do our marital sessions, I'm going to go ahead and start things off for us. Elder Am is going to join us in just a little bit. We are busy, got a lot of moving parts going on today, but we're thankful and grateful to have everybody on with us and spend some time with us. Prayerfully, you get something out of today. If you're on YouTube, you're going to pause for just a second. But we're going to be right back. If you're on YouTube, just we're going to pause for just a bit. About ready to go. Praise Yah. Amen. Hopefully everybody is about ready to go. Praise Yah. Amen. Hopefully everybody is doing well once again. Come on in, come on in. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Amen. Shalom, family. Peace, peace, peace. I pray that you've had an incredible day, an excellent Shabbat, and that all has been well with you and your family, and with thee in thine house. We are once again thankful and grateful for an opportunity to be in front of you all again. We're doing our marital sessions, and so prayerfully you guys are able to get a little something out of this for today. Elder Amma will be joining us in just a little bit. We give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to them for my wife, the Honorable Amma, who lives life is able to be honored. As always, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. SOC's family, moderators, secretary, ministerial staff, however you might be doing, whatever Yah has you doing, we thank you all and we're appreciative so much of you coming by and spending some time with us one more again. Hopefully all is well with you wherever you might be. And prayerfully you guys are having a great time and doing very well in the sight of Yahweh, and all that is great and all that is awesome. So we are doing our marital sessions today. And before we get started, I'll go ahead and greet everyone. We'll say our Bible pledge and we'll jump right in. As I said, Elder Amma will join us in a little bit. And then we'll probably do like a little 5 to 10 minute hiatus in between at the top of the hour at 8 p.m. New York time. I'll have a quick 10-15 minute message on removing the leaven. So we'll make sure that we hit that as well. Also, too, tomorrow evening we'll have another 10-15 minute message on removing the leaven if you'd like to join us tomorrow evening as well. So we're excited, we're thankful, we're grateful. Thank you for being on with us. Greetings to all. Shabbat Shalom, belated Shabbat Shalom, Shan Shalom if you're going by the evening to the rising as we do on our calendar. How you doing, Brother Keith? How you doing, Sister Joy, Sister Michelle, Into the Deep, Sister Knight, Mr. Nabs, is it? Sister Mignon, Gloria, Sister Tia, Minister Morel, Bold Servant, Strawberry Bliss, Tony, etc., etc. If I miss you, please charge it to my name. If I miss you, don't charge it to my name. Please charge it to Please don't charge it to my head and not to my heart. It is not our intention to gloss over anybody or miss anybody in this. But thank you all for being on once again. And we hope that you guys are ready to get into this TikTok. You guys, I'm sorry, I did it to YouTube. You guys are going to pause for just a little bit. I'm going to make sure that this is shared with everybody, just in case they didn't get the message. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I don't know how to share. Hold on. How did I share the live? I should be able to just simply share this shit. There we go. Sorry. I told y'all I'm not always the greatest with this stuff. We're going to get this going though. Praise y'all. Give me a second. Everybody doing well? How you doing, Lisa? Everybody doing well? How you doing, Brother Rodney? I lost the sound. I might have lost the sound because I went away. Hold on 1 second. Everybody doing all right? Hope you are doing well. Praise y'all. Thank you everybody for being on time with us. As I was saying, we're just going to go about 50 minutes, so about 7:50 New York time. We should be finished with this. We'll let a little bit of music play, and then we'll get into a quick message regarding removing the leaven. So prayerfully, you guys continue to do well. Hopefully all is well with everyone. I'm gonna say hi. If you want to share, you can feel free to share with everyone. Thankful and grateful to have you guys on again. You can hear in the background, we got some family in the house. So we're hosting while doing this tonight. But we're still going to be obedient. Come on. We're going to be obedient and still get this in. Make sure that we get back on track regarding this. And much love and respect to everybody. Praise Yah. Alrighty. Trying to send this to as many persons as we can. Okay. All right. I think, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right, I think we got everybody on that we can get on here. Excuse us. I think we got everybody on now as much as we can. Shalom, peace, peace, peace.
Shalom. My apologies for my tardiness.
Oh, no. I was telling them that we got stuff going on tonight, so we got a lot of moving parts, but we wanted to make sure we were obedient and had everything together. So thank you for joining us. We're going to get ready to get started. Shalom, welcome, Sister Beck. Did I say shalom to Lisa? I'm not sure. How you doing? Lamar, Rodney, Sister Mignon, you're back now. Praise Yah. Alrighty. So we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, we're going to stop about 6:50. Sorry, 6:50 where we are. 7:50 p.m. New York time. We're going to stop around then. We'll let some music play on YouTube. It's going to have to be muted for the 10 minutes or so, just because we have to, we can't get any strikes against us or anything. So if you want to take a brief hiatus and come back at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. when we take our break, feel free to. And I'll have a quick 10-15 minutes for you all, a message for you all. And then we will prayerfully see everybody tomorrow again. But thank you for being on with us. How you doing, MIT Raj, Yachanan, excuse me. Everybody, hopefully all is well. And thank you for joining us this evening. So tonight we wanted to talk about communication and how important it is. And we have a specific route that we're actually talking about concerning communication. So, we're talking more so as far as what is it that one wants, how to make that very clear and concise. I know in our relationship, I've been somebody that's actually had to learn to be better with being concise, or at least getting out what he wants, and still have to work on it. But it's something that everybody kind of has to continue to grow in. Yeah. And even tonight, since we're talking about marriage, even those who desire to be married, as far as because we're all married to the Most High, of course, but being married to a wife or husband physically, how we should go about that, because in our culture, obviously, there's no dating, things of that nature. There's in our culture, single is an abstract concept, because basically our community is supposed to be so well knit that everybody really is always together, obviously with respect for husbands and wives, relationships, et cetera, that are certain familial patterns that we should respect, but we should all work together. That being said, culturally, this can be an issue if we're not kind of caught up on things. So that's why we do things like tonight to have conversation, and lead some stuff tonight, and then the following night we do like a little Zoom thing real quick, so where you guys, if you really want to ask specific questions and want to be heard and want to kind of get more in depth, we can do that tomorrow. So but we wanted to make sure we did that. So when it comes to communication, or person's trying to make sure from the beginning that they're getting certain things done, like what are some things that kind of stand out with you, and some things that you notice, maybe even some things like that I didn't necessarily communicate, or we didn't necessarily communicate at times, that we kind of gotten better at, or even have at least realized, even being together for years now, like still,
Yeah.
like making sure this is clear, this is what I actually want, and not just clear to me, which is a thing for me. I have to be better at. It's not as just clear to me, but also like, oh, Alma knows this is what you mean, like not assuming we've been together this long, blah blah. And I'm not. That's not. I don't snap and wipe. But I'm just saying that's kind of how we come across. Like, hey, because I don't like to repeat myself. Like a lot of persons don't. But then again, you end up repeating yourself because you haven't developed certain things. So what are some things that stand out to
So
you?
I think you addressed it right off, like not making assumptions about how the other person thinks or feels. How my husband thinks is different than how I think. How your wife thinks is more than likely different than how you think. Your upbringing, even someone who's from the north side of Chicago versus the south side of Chicago, they're going to think differently, just because of the environment they were raised in.
Mm-hmm.
So, being clear on expectations, setting, like understanding, first of all, what it is that you want, so that you can set clear expectations for how you like to handle things going forward. For instance, if you were raised in a more traditional home, you might assume that as the wife, you're expected to wash the laundry. But your husband may have been in the military and is a pro at washing and pressing and doing those things, and he takes great pride in it, such as my husband, you know, um, who's better at that sort of thing than I am. He's better at, you know, pressing, making sure, he had his Navy uniform that he had to make sure that was on point, and so he's kept that type of mentality. When we first got together, I was surprised that he wanted to um, uh, do the laundry. I was surprised that he wanted to iron clothes and that he wanted to fold them and roll them. He actually rolls clothes, not necessarily folds them, because it's more efficient in terms of space. And he's really, really great at that. And I was surprised at that because coming from where I'm from Florida. I'm actually in my hometown as we speak. Um, Coming from Florida, you kind of expect that the woman's going to take care of all the household chores, the cooking, the cleaning, and different things like that. But understanding how you feel about those things and communicating that right off, even before you consummate the marriage. But if you are already married, asking each other questions on, what are our roles? Don't assume, you understand what the other person is thinking, because that leads to a lot of confusion and a lot of unnecessary arguments that could be addressed by just understanding, okay, this is where I'm coming from, and this is where you're coming from.
Amen. And by the way, just to let you know, we're going to be switching back and forth on the phone. We have something that we have to be keeping an eye on. So just in case you're like, oh, he's not even paying attention to her, I promise I am. We're making sure that we'll be passing it back and forth maybe a little bit. But yeah, those are extremely important. So communication it's something that's major. Obviously, everybody talks about communication with relationships in general, but it is very, very, very important, and making sure that it's the same. It's like at services, persons can be at the same service and hear the same word, and if it's not being made sure that everybody's actually going the same path, it can easily be something where you see someone go and take something and say, oh, well, when they got that, that's not what I got. Well, when they said this, that's not what I got, and that can be very, very dangerous, and it happens a lot not just in those services. It can happen with children. You know, you give instructions and your children think that one thing. So the same thing in any relationship, but especially today we're talking about marriage. It's extremely important, you know, down to word usage or tone, or even for you, like in my family, I grew up with, in my immediate family growing up, I grew up with a lot of sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
So sarcasm is not even something that especially initially when we got together, I didn't think twice about what my tone was in that regard. Not because I had disrespect for my wife, but because I wanted to, you know, it's just how I was raised. So literally, my mom might say something to me, and I might say something back to her, and I'd have to watch my tone, of course, because you can't disrespect. But that being said, it was just something that was there. Or in my family, one thing that we do not do very well is take like any kind of, like, there's, you know how there's boundaries everybody has. Our boundaries are extremely fickle. Like, we're very fickle, so our boundaries are really upcut,
Rigid, yeah.
really rigid. So if somebody does something in my family, you just don't talk about it, right? Like, you should have known better. And we get to this place of like reading each other's minds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, with my wife, that can be something that's really hard and has been hard, and she's had to talk to me about that because in all the stuff that's going on, you know, we'll have a conversation, and in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, how can you not know what I'm thinking? Blah blah. Like, kind of the reverse. A lot of guys usually are the ones to be like, hey, and I feel like that at times too. But I'm just saying, like, I'm probably more the culprit, if I'm being honest, in our relationship. Like, I'm probably more the culprit when I think about it long term. Of I've really had to, and I'm still need to get there, but I've had to really get better at being okay. Because in my family, once again, since boundaries are so rigid,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this thing where it's like everybody's always paying attention to like every word, because we're not gonna mess up, because we know that once you mess up, somebody might not talk to you. But she comes from a family to where they can talk things through more and actually have more feelings and actually say words that we
You're more
wouldn't say to each
tactful.
other.
You're more tactful because of your upbringing.
I'll just press it back and forth
Okay.
to make sure
Yeah,
it
just be
doesn't.
careful because I'm sorry,
No,
guys.
yeah.
If you press
No,
that,
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't.
All right. Your family. You're more tactful. You're more reserved and more well thought out in what you're gonna say. Whereas, you know, I just say I just want to be as direct as possible and get it out as the best I can, and those two communication styles often clash.
Right.
Because we're,
Right, because it'd be like, for me, it's for her. Well, I don't want to speak for her. She can say if I'm correct or not, or redirect what I'm saying if necessary. You know, for her, you know, a lot of times I've noticed it'll be like, you know, I'm beating around the bush, but because for me, I come from a place where you better get it right. So I'm trying my best to like be like, okay, I'm trying to get this across. I'm trying to get this across. For her, she's like, spit it out sometimes, you know, and but vice versa, you know, like, I'm sitting up there and I'm like too direct, you know, because she'll just, and it's not a bad way either, right? For me, it was bad growing up, but it doesn't mean it's bad. And she, you know, the wife and husband that I saw, not they were great for each other, by the way, my father and my mother, but that was my father and my mother's marriage too, you know. And even though we do want to take certain things from what we got from our parents, you know, I have to also remember a lot of times, like, she's not my mother, you know, and my mother, you know, my mother's passed a while anyways, but I'm just saying, like, she's not my mother. So I didn't marry my mother for this cause with a man, an Adam, and Aish, even a husband, leave his mother and father and cleave to his Aisha, cleave to his wife. So you have to go to this place of the communication styles for us not only get to be different, we're allowed to be different, but also we have to be different. Because I'm not, you know, as great as I know my mother was, right? I'm not one with my mother, I'm one with my wife. And so, you know, communication is extremely important, especially when we're getting to know each other, you know, especially when we're getting to, you know, like, every day we know each other, and also too we change as we get older too. So every day is a different. I'm dealing with a new, fresh Alma, you know, like, and every day she's dealing with a new, fresh Kofi. So there's stuff that I know that I probably used to say or do when we first got together, and I'm, you know, sometimes it might even seem like I'm totally against it, but it's because I have gone through changes, you know. the church Kofi
Mm-hmm.
is different in a lot of ways than the Israelite Kofi, and even with in between there, she saw I was changing and making steps and stuff, and I was serious about it and things like that. But there were things that were that were there, and so she's had to learn how to address the different versions of myself, prayerfully going in the righteous direction, right? That's always the goal, is to go the correct place. I might have taken a couple falls here or there and that, but the goal is to continue to shoot up on the graph, right? And so she's had to learn. So there's certain things I do more efficiently. There's certain things that I probably, when we first got together, she was like, oh, okay, he's going to be this. And then, 4 years later, maybe not so much. 8 years later, definitely not. 12 years later, like, that doesn't even concern me the way it used to, so, communicating every day, because we're talking to a different version of ourselves. We're trying to salvage or get back to original intent. As we teach a lot, the original intent is something that we've never seen. So I've never seen myself at my best, but I'm trying to get there every day. And she's never seen herself at her best. She's trying to get there every day. And so we have to allow that person to become greater. And a lot of times we don't believe that part of that is allowing that person to communicate to us who they are now, and also for us to communicate to them, hey, this is you now. So even to a place with me, I know that we've gotten better at, which is like, hey, okay, tell me where you are now, because this is when we get into this weird stuff. Like, I know a lot of couples can, everybody on it probably can agree to this, like, where if you look at it, you have a lot of fights about, well, you said this and you said and you did and you always, and if you look at it, this person, you might be holding on to something that was way, way, way long ago. It's not even close to what it was, but you still have it in your mind because that's who you first got with, or who you saw, or what other relationships you had in the past. That's what they did, etc.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you said uh, communicating to this new person, because we change over time, and our beliefs and our feelings about different things change also. So we need to check in from time to time, and be very clear. That's a great word,
like check in.
Yeah, be very clear on who you are today, because allowing that person the grace to grow and change is going to be a part of our walk together forever. We're going to have to allow each other to be flexible and understand, where we stand on different topics, such as, um, emotional support. Like, how do we initiate conversations? How do we, like, do I initiate? Do you think that I should initiate it? Do you think that you should initiate it? Do you think that we both should initiate it as we see fit? Like, we have to understand where we stand on even initiating the communication, just being very clear. And I think um, the questionnaire that we came up with is a great place to start. Like, how do you feel about confrontation? How do you feel about speaking about your emotions? How do you think we should handle that? How do you feel about who leads planning dates? Like, who should plan them? Do you think it's should be me who thinks of what we should do as a couple, or do you want us to both think about it, or is that something you want to take the lead on? Because I know, like, for us, for family day, often you take the lead on planning our outings. That was something that we kind of just went into. I said that I wanted to have family day, and you took the initiative to start planning it, and planning where we go, what we do, and then where we eat for that day. But would you like for me to take on some of those, or to make suggestions? How, just knowing what is expected can really save you a lot of hassle and heartache in the future, and, like, misunderstandings, because the word you use often is microcosm. Because when things start building up, and little resentments, it's tiny resentments. It's like, oh, I wanted to go here this day, but you wanted to go there. I wanted to watch this movie, but you chose last time, and I feel like we should both get a chance to choose. Whereas, if one person thinks, oh, I as the husband, I should choose, because she wants me to take the lead, she wants me to take initiative, she doesn't want to have to worry about it. And people, I know that you come from just the best of intent when you do anything, Um, and that's something that I have to, if I assume anything, assume that you're coming from a great place, your heart is in the right place, your intent is just to make me happy. So if I'm not happy, then you feel like you kind of failed on two fronts, basically. Probably, I don't want to speak for you.
No, I think for in general, men in general, I kind of feel like that. I say a saying a lot. If I be honest, sometimes when I get frustrated, I say, I need to know what my lane is. And I know there's men don't necessarily. I don't know if you guys say it the same way, but I know talking to the brothers, that's something that's very common. Is and it's really for sisters too. I think one of the biggest things, especially because persons want us to argue against tradition. They want us to come against different things. They want us to, like say that what persons have for us is not is that, or I'm sorry, what we believe, what Yah has for us, etc., is not something that we should live by.
I see a bot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get rid of the bond. I think I got my fingers are too fat. Okay, all right. Sorry, but yeah. So just different things like that. Us coming to a place where we know what our lane is, and so it's a lot easier to move. It's a lot easier to grow. It's a lot easier to flow when everybody knows. Oh, okay, this is what's expected of me. It's like at a job. When I'm working jobs and we need to do something, and next thing I know, everybody's yelling at me, and I'm like, but I did what I always do. Somebody's like, well, you should have known. It's like, well, why should I have known? We do the same, and we get mad there, but then we come home and we do the same thing. Kind of like, why don't you know? You should have known. You should have known that I wanted. You should have known. Like, you've been with me this many years. Like, you could be with somebody 50 years and not know.
You're never gonna know everything.
Yeah, so there's certain things that I can kind of get. Certain words I know. Okay, don't say this word. In certain places, like I know. Okay, this is a bucket list thing. There's certain trips that I'm like, okay, someday, I know I'm gonna, like I don't. There's certain things we know each other so much we don't have to worry about. That being said, yeah, the sneaky part is when it's the thing where we don't know.
I remember the first conversation we had. We talked for like 3 hours. The first time we talked on the phone. We met each other. We exchanged business cards, and then off we went. We spoke to each other on the phone for about 3 hours, and our first conversation was about people being self-centered versus selfish. That a lot of people aren't focused on others. They're
Great
focused.
memory.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't know that I'll always remember that conversation. That's how I knew that you were the one for me.
Yeah, because you were saying something, and then you told me like you don't want to be selfish and about. Well, I won't say what it's about, but you don't want to be selfish, and I remember.
So, and I think that rings true for a lot of people. Like, we are so hurried and rushed in our daily lives that we don't take the time to appreciate others, not appreciate their feelings, their likes, their dislikes. If you say that you love someone, then you should at least know basic things about them. What something what's their favorite color? What's their favorite day of the week? Like, what do they like to eat? What's their favorite food? Are they allergic to anything? Just little basic things that shows that I'm interested in you. I'm not self-centered. I'm focused on you. When I'm thinking about you, I know about you. I'm not just focused on how you make me feel. And I think oftentimes, and when we're looking for a relationship or when we're in a marriage, we're so focused on what the person's going to offer to us and how they're making us feel, that we might take for granted that, hey, what do I actually know about this person? I know how they make me feel, but what else do I know about them? Do I know what will make them happy? Because we were so focused on what will make us happy that we might lose sight of, can I make this person happy? And it's, a union. So both parts have to be working together to make each other happy. Because if I'm just focused on making me happy and he's focused on making him happy, then neither one of us is going to be happy together. So.
And a lot of persons are taught the opposite, especially when they on that Will and Jada love thing, y'all remember everybody was on that, and Will came out and he said, and Jada was like, he said something so profound. He said that it's not my responsibility to make you happy. And I always thought that was weird. 'Cause I'm not saying I, like obviously, yes, intrinsically there should be something within herself. I can't, work out everything for her. I'm not responsible for, ultimately, she has free will. She's not a robot and something to be used for my pleasure or whatever, right? Obviously. That being said, though, yeah, she's decided to be one with you. And in our culture, right, biblically speaking, even, matter of fact, let me go there real quick. I thought I had, oh, I did. We go there real quick. Ephesians, right? Everybody like Ephesians chapter 5? Let me hit up Ephesians 5 real quick. And everybody says that, or at least a lot of persons in the world say that for sure. And it's really weird. We're going to, right now, we should do this for each other, but obviously this is going to be focusing on husbands. I'm going to Ephesians chapter 5, and I'm gonna go ahead and start at verse 25 because that's where it starts. But I want you to see what it says about how linked like we are and how much I should be concerned about my wife. Yeah, allowing questions is very important for sure.
I agree with this to you.
Ephesians chapter 5, right? And one thing I've learned too, if you're not doing it in your home, you're not doing it anywhere else. So trust and believe if I should be able, and I haven't always been great at this, but I've gotten much better. If you can do Q&A for SOC, you should be able to do Q&A for your wife, like if you can do, if somebody else can ask questions and stuff like that, you're right, your husband should be able to ask questions. So, but Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25. So this is where it starts with husbands. It says, husbands, love your wives, even as the Messiah also loved the assembly and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word in of itself. This is communication, right? So you might sanctify it even by what you speak, but hopefully speaking the word, right? Verse 27, that he might present it to himself a glorious assembly. So you're presenting your wife a glorious, right? A glorious wife to yourself, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy without blemish. Verse 28, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. Verse 29, for no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as Yehoshua does the assembly. So when you're looking at that, right, when we look at that, that's literally saying, the way that I care for myself is the way that I care for my wife. And somebody who sees that, if my wife sees that, she should be submitted to the mission, right? If you get that, remember, it's not submission, it's submission, even in conversation. I know we're talking about communication, but it's the same. Where this correlates, it corresponds. These are parallels. Like matter of fact, they coincide because like she's supposed to be submitted to the mission of what? The mission of a husband, and a huge part of the mission of a husband is to make sure that he washes his wife with the word. He cleanses her, right? Makes her lawful, legal. He presents her unto himself in a glorious manner. And no man has ever hated his own flesh. I wouldn't hurt myself. I wouldn't stab myself. I wouldn't do certain things to my trigger warning, excuse me. But I wouldn't do certain things in a horrendous fashion unto myself. Right? To do so would be crazy. Therefore, love your wife the way that you love yourself. So ought men to love their wives in the same manner, to where literally, like, so if I wouldn't want somebody to communicate, and I've slipped up in this, right? But I'm just saying, I'm getting better, right? However, if I wouldn't want somebody to say that to me, I shouldn't say it to her. If I wouldn't want somebody to love me like that or not love me like that, then I shouldn't give that to her. And now this is love language stuff included. I actually was, wanted to show, the brothers, we've been in this for a short while now, but the 5 love languages and stuff like that. So there's dialects, of course, that you can go deeper with. However, on a surface level, I can't love. If I want to be loved, I should love her the way I want to be loved. And if she sees that, she should be submitted to that mission. And a lot of times we're out of pocket with that.
And I think, how could she submit to a mission that you're not submitted to? If you, if you're loving your wife as you love yourself, and you don't know or haven't clearly communicated the mission. Because I find that if someone can't clearly communicate something, it's because they don't understand it. They're not really under it themselves. So how can they communicate to you?
Mm-hmm.
So for me to submit to you, I need to clearly understand what I'm submitting to.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, you had to have clearly, you had to have clearly understood the mission. No,
Okay.
you had to clearly have understood your mission to be able to communicate to me so that I could understand what it is that I'm submitting to and how to best be a helpmate in that, how to best be a part of that.
Right, because how do you help when you don't know? Like we were talking about, was it last night? Y'all helped me. I think it was last night. Yeah, last night we were talking about when people say take care of you, and I was like, take care of who? Because, but from the context of like, who are you? You know, so if you don't know who you are, how do you take care of you? Like if you can't identify with who you are, then how do you take care of you? But it's the same thing. It's like, and I have somebody who can help to take care of me, take care of us, take care of family, take care of vision, take care of SOC. And if the person is like, well, who is that? What is that? And I can't explain it, or I haven't taken time out to write that vision out and make it plain upon tablets that she can take it and say, oh, okay, you ain't even got to tell me, like, I'm straight for the next like 2 weeks. Like, I know we need to do this. I'll come to you for a couple things, but hey, and I haven't always been that. I'm still not always that, but we're getting better at that. But I'm just saying, you know, how do you get there?
Well, and when you talk, you say this often, make it practical, not just mystical. And when you think about uh, the understanding the mission, the being submitted to understanding the 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 person or understanding the thing, you have to understand how what what you need to do to take care of it. Like if you have a plant and you don't know what type of plant it is, there are some plants that like sunlight, and there's some plants that sunlight will kill. There are some cars that like diesel, and there's some cars that diesel will kill. There are some wives that like, a lack of, a lack of confrontation, and there's some wives that a lack of communication or confrontation will kill. So just not knowing what what you're doing with who you're dealing with, then it's already set you up to not be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, yeah, and I see where you were going to, because confrontation and what was it you said? Not communication, confrontation, and something, another C word, or was it communication?
It was communication.
Okay, so confrontation and communication, because sometimes men can take it as confrontation, or sometimes both parties might take something as confrontation, but it's communication. Even sometimes, like when somebody's angry, we take it as they were, and really, some if they coincide correctly, then they're both, fair play. Like
I agree. Auntie Mary, she said take turns.
yeah, so even in that, like confrontation and communication, very key and very big, very necessary, and really even a place of freedom. Like there should be more. It's really interesting. For whatever reason, we give more freedom to strangers on the street, or more freedom to persons we are connected with at our jobs or in school or whatever, than we do with our spouses. We'll let persons be free to say, like, kind of dance all over and get away with a lot of stuff, and then we don't let our spouse get away with the smallest things. And then we'll say, well, because I live with you, so I can. No, it's like, actually, because I live with you, you should be more free, but also I should feel more free. It's a symbiotic relationship. So I should not be in a position where everybody else feels, like, I'll just be honest. In the past in our relationship, my wife has had to walk on eggshells, but everybody else could come to me freely. That's out of order, and that shows, once again, a mindset, because we oftentimes forget too, we try to, like, maybe, I hope this comes across right, we can try our best to be at our greatest at our work, and forget that, like, our first work is here.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I think, when you're really close to someone, when you're in a marriage, when you're a parent, sometimes you take for granted the people that are closest to you, the ones that, you say you love with all your heart. Sometimes you take them for granted because you just assume that they'll always be there. and that their days aren't numbered, or that your days aren't numbered. And so, like, I see people talking to their spouse any type of way, but then they get on the phone with their boss and they're just like the most cordial person. Or I see people like parents in the store cursing out their children, and then they'll say "excuse me" to me, and I'm like, oh, that's backwards.
Yeah.
Like you're cursing out
Yeah,
your
just finished saying you mother effer, and then all of a sudden like come around the corner. Oh, excuse me. Like
Oh, and it is so weird to me, because when I see somebody doing that, I'll compliment their child on how wonderful or how cute they are or something, and then all of a sudden the demeanor changes, and it's like, why do you do that for a stranger? But the person that is going to carry your blood, be your successor, you're treating them like trash, but you're treating a stranger with way more respect, which doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, communication is definitely key in that, and believing that it's best to sow into the house. Believing that it's best to sow into your house, into your family, more. You're going to spend more time. Like at the end of the day, I said this even with Solomon. I love that little boy, and he's going to be a great man, a great king. He's prayerfully going to take what we're doing to the next level and all that stuff, right? In his own way. That being said, he's not the person that I'm going to be with, forever and a day, so to speak. Like he's not, and we get a lot of stuff out of order, and it's like once again, these persons are not as important. We make once again strangers on the street get stuff, and you know how I know we can be better at communicators.
Huh.
Our communicative skills are always on point, especially us in our diaspora, because we code switch.
Oh man, yeah.
And if we can
We
code,
know.
yeah, but I'm just saying, so if we can code switch, right? Because somebody be like, I don't know how to communicate, but and watch this. And I'm not trying to say this is what it is. I'm trying to say this is how. Let's be honest, beloved. Let's be honest, diaspora. Let's be honest, black folk. Okay, we be sitting up there talking about the white man this, white man that I got to go to the job. I got to listen to him. I got to do blah blah. But when you get to the job, you know how to speak white, so to speak, right? You get to the
And
job,
show
you know
him
how to speak.
respect.
You know how to speak corporate. You know how to speak country. You know how to speak. You know how to speak. If you're on the street, you know how to speak street. Your vernacular is always on point up until right, you get to somebody who you say that you're one with and you love, and now all of a sudden you don't have the ability to code switch.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do it in this setting, but I don't know if I could physically do it, but I could probably like speak like Alma if I wanted to. Like I could literally, if like actually like if I thought about it, I could probably communicate and speak in a manner to where like Solomon would be like, oh, you sound just like mom, right? But however, if I'm not careful, I'll forget that and make an excuse or say because I'm angry because she did something or somebody else, or I'm having a bad day, right? I can get to a place if I'm not careful. Well, I forget. Like I give everybody that ability to code switch. I give everybody, or I show everybody that ability to code switch, but I don't actually code switch. Within my own house. So and I know somebody code switch. Well, I should just be able to be myself. Yes. But also too, that person should be able to be themselves. And you are okay with your boss or your manager feeling like they're comfortable with where they are so that they can lead and guide you. Well, what about your husband? You're comfortable making sure that your team members have everything that they need under you, or your project manager, everybody on your team has what they need. Well, then why can't you do that for your wife? All right. So it's a lot of, and even vice versa sometimes, because sometimes she's the project manager. She's the one saying, we're going to do this, blah, blah. And so like, hey, she should be able to go, okay, Kofi's going to probably get stuck on the little details. He's gonna be stuck on time. He's gonna be stuck on this. He's gonna be stuck on that. So she has to sometimes come to me like that and be like, "Hey, okay, babe, look, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I'm not really in charge of this and that or whatever. We got family, blah blah blah, this and that. So you just gonna have to like, I'm just letting you know." And so that's her way of like kind of like being like brace yourself. But I'm appreciative of it because even though for a hot second I'm frustrated, I'm like, okay, like it is what it is. Like okay, that's how we're gonna move. I still got to make sure the family gets from point A to point B. I still have to make sure everybody's safe. I still have to make sure everybody's eating. I still have to make, okay, like, cool. All right. Like, all right. Thank you for letting me know, basically, and vice versa. Hopefully I'm able to do that from time to time too. Like, I know there might be a time where it's like, okay, babe, I know it's going to annoy you. I know we probably might even frustrate. It's the old us probably would like have a long fight about this, right? But let me just go ahead. Hey, this is what it is. This is truthfully what's happening, and give her an opportunity. Once again, same thing. Like, even if she don't like it for a bit, whatever. But my wife always does have my back. Even if she shouldn't, if I be honest, at certain times, she has always been there. And the least I can do for her, period, but especially because of what she's sewn in that regard, is make sure that she gets that. So if we can code switch for others, if
I
we can
love your
code switch
heart.
for strangers, we can do it for each other. Love you too. Love
No,
you
I
all
love,
too.
I love you, but I love your heart. I love that your uprightness and your righteousness and your sense of loyalty. Pastor Kofi is one of the most loyal people, the most consistent people you're ever gonna meet in your life. He's the only one I know. He's the most consistent, the most loyal, the most upright man I've ever met. And yeah, and I think a lot. I love to hear you speak because it further shows me your heart. You said something to me the other day that it's hard to have me at a loss for words, but you had me at a loss for words, and I was like, I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And sometimes
And to be honest, what I told her was something that I hadn't really been able to communicate until recently too. So even showing that, like, we grow, like, because I think I've said it, but once again, if I be honest, is why I be telling you persons, or telling you family. I'm sorry, persons means plural. Some of you might not know that, but I be telling all y'all, like, I'm obviously a human being, and so she deals with the stuff that y'all don't see, and I'm thankful that everybody doesn't see me at my worst sometimes, or just at a moment where I have human moments, but she and stresses that I might have that are different than other persons because of the position I have, even, that I take on things that the average person,
carry a lot on your
doesn't, and so, just she sees a lot and she goes through a lot, and I tell persons this all the time, even when persons like, hey, Elder Amor, or she doesn't speak as much, blah, and I'm like, trust me, she's dealing with me, dealing with this dude. She deals with a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that when we got together, I told her, like, I was like, it looks like I'm heading towards being a pastor, but it's going to be looking different than anything I've ever seen. And I was telling her from the beginning, I don't know what that means. Even on our phone conversation that you're talking about, I was like, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm just letting you know. And however we come across it, however we deal with that together, is how we deal with that together. And like I said, she's been by my side, and we haven't looked back, and we're not going to. And so, yeah, so I'm proud of us. I'm proud of you. Thank you for being on. As you can hear in the background, and as you guys have been told, we were doing a lot of traveling, taking care of stuff, got family, and stuff to make sure we take care of. So she's actually she was a little late dealing with stuff like that, and also some other things. That's why we're looking at the phone at the same time. So we got several things going on, but she's gonna go ahead and, if she's all right, unless, if you have anything else to say real quick.
Oh, I was gonna address what Brother Vincent said, because
Okay.
I love that he's like thinking outside of the box, being very introspective in terms of where people are coming from, because he said, when people kind of take things out on their loved ones, he said, I think they are feeling powerlessness, and it makes us attack those we feel are weaker. So sometimes just dealing with something internally kind of manifests into that, the outburst as someone who you feel is either on your level or beneath you, to where there's no real repercussions, because that person's gonna still love you, that person's gonna still come back, but whereas if you do it at work, or if you do it to a stranger, you might not make it home that night, type of thing. So yeah, I love what you said.
Yeah.
I won't
Well, no, I mean, I know we got to you got to get going, and we actually at the top of the hour we're gonna transition at the top of the hour. We're gonna get into the word for the day for removing the leaven. It'll only be like 10-15 minute message. So if you guys don't mind hanging around on YouTube, we're gonna have to mute you. So you will be back with us, but we'll just have to mute you for a little bit as the music plays, and then if you're on TikTok, you'll be able to hear the music play for a little bit. And then we'll be back on. So thank you for being on, babe. And love you. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Thank you for being part of the Marital Sessions. And we'll see everybody in a little bit. Hopefully this helps. And we are traveling, so we'll try our best, but we should be able to do some form of Zoom meeting at some point tomorrow evening. We'll send the Google Calendar invite and everything out for that. And prayerfully, you guys can join us for a little bit of Zoom Q&A and all that great stuff. So thank you again. We honor your presence. We're going to go ahead and mute YouTube. We'll let the music play over here on TikTok. And we shall start in just a little bit. So thank you everybody again. Appreciate y'all. Hopefully you can stay for a few more minutes. And I promise you the word is going to be real. The word is going to be really, really short. But we'll make sure we get something for the season of removing the leaven that we're in. All right. Shalom, family. Take care. We'll see you in just a little bit.
Peace.
The live is not off. We'll be starting at the top of the hour again. No problem. All right. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So we're back here again, talk about removing the leaven from our home. Praise Yah. Quick message. Only about 10 to 15 more minutes, and then we shall be out of your way. Praise Yah. Thank you for your patience. And as we transitioned over, hopefully you enjoyed the little selection that was on. Praise Yah. Had a little dance, got a little step in if you were on TikTok. But yeah, so we're excited once again and grateful, thankful. Had a lot of stuff going on. We were trying to get taken care of. Praise Yah. A big thing we were looking for. We were looking on the phone, something we were looking to come through, came through. Praise Yah. So thank you for those who've been keeping us in prayer. Got some other stuff to take care of, but at least a big piece was also we were sitting up here dancing, getting our little shout on. Praise Yah. It going all over the place, all over the room. Praise Yah. Oh, Baba Kasha. I didn't know. I know she sent out a bunch of stuff at the same time, so I will definitely let her know. Thank you, Brother Lamar. Yeah, go ahead. So thank you for being on. So quick message, quick message. Shalom, everybody. You said I don't remember you from middle school and Jefferson. Well, I didn't go to Jefferson, but you talking about Edison and what middle school did I go? Mark, you talking about Mark Twain? Oh, that's not even. Is this a real person? Is this a real person? Yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't know about that part. You got somebody. There is a place named Jefferson where I was at, but I don't know about the. I didn't go to Jefferson, so you lost me on that. I was about to say looking familiar, but anyway. So real quick message about removing the leaven, right? Real quick message about removing the leaven, real quick. So we're talking about removing leaven from our home. We want to make sure that we recognize what's going on in the season. So if you're not familiar with it, leaven represents sin. Leaven represents sin, right? Um, and we're going to go ahead and just do something real quick. Give me a second as we turn in our Bibles. So leaven represents sin. Give me a second. Give me a second. I believe it's Matthew 13, right? I mentioned it the last time we talked about it on Wednesday. I believe it's Matthew 13. If it's not, please forgive me. Let's go over here. I believe it's in Matthew chapter 13. Talks about the leaven. This is where the kingdom of heaven is like. The kingdom of heaven is like. The kingdom of heaven is like. Yep, it is. Matthew chapter 13, verse 33. If you'd like to go ahead and turn there with us, feel free to turn there real quick. How you doing, Shoe Queen? Thank you for the love. Matthew chapter 13, real quick. We're going to speak on this leaven, and then we'll go ahead and let you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Q&A tomorrow, by the way. Do not forget, Sister Shirley, I'm going to be looking for you to either text or make sure that in the beginning of it, you put it in the chat. So your question can be first. I recall that we're supposed to, I forget what the question is, but I recall you're supposed to be first. I do recall that much. All right. So Matthew chapter 13, verse 33, it reads as follows. It says, another parable spake he unto them. The Dachshamayim, or the kingdom of heaven, is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened. We just read Matthew 13, verse 33. Once again, it reads, another parable spake he unto them. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in the 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened. Now, a lot of times we look at this in a negative fashion because leaven represents sin. But I want to talk about this real quick, the way that Yahashua is talking about it, and then we'll speak on removing the leaven. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven. That's a bar, right? The kingdom of heaven is like leaven. It's like unto leaven. If you, right, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened. Now we can take this as far as there is some argument about this. This can be taken as the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven because the kingdom of heaven suffered violence. The person try to mess it up. The person try to make it something it's not. So if you put leaven in it, it can cause it to grow out of control. Right? There's also, though, more so what this is actually talking about, that the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, right? And if you just hide 3 measures, 3 small amounts, and when they're talking about this, when you look at how they would make it, there would be like a table, even like a huge table of bread. And all you need is just a little bit of leaven and all the bread would rise, right? So the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, but not just leaven. Right? Here's the situation, right? It's like unto leaven, which a woman took. And what did she do? She hid it in 3 measures of meal until the whole was leavened. If we can take the kingdom of heaven, how you doing, big brother Thomas? If we can take the kingdom of heaven, how you doing, Sister Shima? And we can take this kingdom and put it in, right, to anything that seems to be flat, to anything that seems to not have life going, to anything that is frustrating, to any situation we're in, a little bit of the kingdom causes everything to rise. You see, a little bit, a tiny bit, a small measure of kingdom can cause anything to rise. This is why the leaven needs to be specific leaven, right? There's different types of leaven. And the leaven that we want to be left over is only kingdom. Because any kind of leaven can also cause things to rise, right? The leaven of pride can cause your head to get out of control and you to become high-minded, right? The leaven of anger, especially unchecked anger, can provoke you to do some things in wrath and forget that vengeance is not yours, but it belongs to the Most High, right? So when we're talking in this season, we want to make sure that we are removing leaven that is causing growth in wrong areas. Remember, leaven is alive, right? If you're eating leaven, if you're eating yeast, if you're eating things of that nature, it is alive, right? The leaven lives, and anything that we put it in now has a life that was not initially there. So if Yah's giving you something and you allow leaven, or in this case, now we're now reverting to leaven represents sin. If I allow sin to enter into something, even if it was sinless, it will become sinful. It will grow. Right? You can have a situation be sinless, but if you allow something that is sinful in it, it all becomes sinful. You can be as righteous as you would like to be, right? You can be as righteous as you want to be. You can be as righteous as you like to be. You can quote all the scriptures. You can do all the stuff. But if you allow something that is sinful to enter in, then you allow the kingdom to fall apart, right? There's the reality. Right? This is the reality. It's the truth. It is the truth, right? The leaven of the Pharisees can cause a huge amount of problems, right? This is why you need to know the law greater than the scribes and the Pharisees, right? A little bit of leaven, can mess everything up, right? And a lot of persons are putting sin. Once again, leaven represents sin. So a lot of persons allow things to grow. So when we go through this 40-day period, this 40-day process of removing leaven from our homes, removing it from our diet, removing it from our households, removing it from our family, this is a reminder of we should be that dedicated. As dedicated, see, this is a manifestation. Spiritually, if you're removing leaven, then physically you're removing leaven. Spiritually, if you're removing sin, then physically you're removing sin. It's the same thing. So even when we finish the 40 days Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is 48 days total, on day 49, when you can get to go to leaven, you should have a mindset of checking everything, what's in it, right? Like if you're going to be removing leaven in the series, in the season, right, for the next 40 days all the way through April the 18th, if you're going to make sure that your household is leaven free, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to go through a process of checking everything that you eat. Potato chips have leaven in them. Some of them. You got to check. Sometimes things you wouldn't think. Some of your favorite candy bars have leaven in them, right? Some of the things that are the fluffiest things that you love and you enjoy and all that, that's leaven, right? There's some things in there. So you have to start checking. Even if you go to the grocery store, you go to your gas station or something, and you getting, you go to Dunkin' Donuts, whatever, you go to Krispy Kreme, you get your favorite donut. All right, that's leaven. You have to start checking yourself, and you start removing certain things, and you start having a stricter diet. You said that's why you read labels, praise Yah, right? You get a stricter diet, right? You'll stop eating anything, you'll stop. But then if you start thinking about leaven, well, shoot, what about sugar? If I start, right? Because leaven is like a gateway drug, just like sin is a gateway, right? To what? To death. So let me start removing, I'm gonna start removing sin because I don't want anything dead. Let me start removing sin because I don't want these bad spirits. Let me start removing sin because I want to make sure that I'm on point, right? So if I'm removing leaven, let me start looking at sugar. Let me start looking at this. This is what keeping culture does. And we do it as a community. And now as a community, conversations we start having about it. Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? Yeah, man, I'm trying to get this real for you. Yeah, man, did you know that leaven is in this? Did you know that leaven is in gum? Did you know that leaven is in toothpaste? Did you know that leaven is really? Word? Well, then can I use toothpaste? Yeah, I found a toothpaste, matter of fact, it's healthier than the other stuff anyway. You'll start having conversations because when you remove the sin and the community removes the sin, now everybody's talking about a sin less. We're trying not to have the little bit of leaven come in and make everything rise to where what was sin less or zero sin has now become sinful, right? We don't want any leaven, any residue of leaven, any residue of sin gets bad. See, so what happens, think about it, a 40-day period of removing sin, of removing leaven, and then what happens on day 41? Passover. Now the angel is coming over, and we have the blood on the doorpost, the one who was perfect, and watching over our families, and the angel of death passes over us, and we took 40 days before then to prepare ourselves, be sin-free, that the blood of the Lamb might be on the door, that we might be able to and not have the death angel in. And now because the death angel does not come to see us and visit us, now we celebrate remaining sinless for 7 more days, getting us to a place of Zion, right? Like this is powerful stuff, right? So when we keep this, when we keep our culture, when we keep the commands, we keep things righteously in a righteous fashion, we remain in right lawful standing, and it blesses us. It keeps us, it helps us to remain honorable. All right. So just wanted to share that with you guys tonight. I told you 10 to 15 minute message. I don't have much. We put it together with the marital session tonight. So thank you all for being on. We'll make sure that we come back in front of you guys tomorrow after we do the Zoom session, marital session. We'll make sure that we'll be on these same platforms tomorrow. So feel free to check back in tomorrow about 8 or so. And that's all I have. Thank you again. Appreciate, love you all tomorrow. So we'll have basically 2 Q&As tomorrow. We'll have the live session, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. New York time. And then at 7 p.m. New York time, we'll do the Zoom session for the marital sessions. And then we'll follow that up at 8 p.m. New York time with our, we'll follow that up at 8 p.m. New York time with another brief removing the leaven message. All right. Love y'all to life. Don't forget, everybody in Georgia, try to have your calendar next couple of Saturdays coming up, at least probably maybe even the next 3-4 Saturdays. See if you can go ahead and free yourselves up. I'm going to have some phone calls being made to you. If you don't hear anything from anybody next couple of days, make sure you're checking in. I'll try to announce it as much as we can. Also, too, to give you guys a heads up, more than likely, I'm not sure, but more than likely, we're going to have an SOC community meeting on Monday. And it's going to be an all hands on deck. And unfortunately, it's not really going to be a fun one. It's going to kind of be a gut punch, but it's something that we have to talk about and make sure everybody's aware of so that we're moving in the same path. So if you can meet with us on Monday evening, be prepared for that. That's just something that I've been kind of mulling over, praying about, trying to make a decision on, and the decision was basically made for us. So we just want to let you guys know what's up. So love you all to life. You all take care. Hope you had a great night. Thank you for being on. And we give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our honor and praise to my wife, the Honorable Amma, who is actually with us tonight. And thank you, babe, again for being with us. Love you. Love all of you. And remember, as always, family, that you are loved. You are necessary. You are majestic. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shabbat, or excuse me, Shalom, or if you're using all of Saturday, Shabbat Shalom. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.